Hip hangs. It's time for hip hangs. Hip hangs. It's time for hip hangs. The time for hip hangs. Hip hangs. It's time. It's time. Not me in a good mood. Not me in a good mood. Not me in a good mood. Hey, hey, hey. Not me in a good mood. Hey, hey, hey. I just got back from a friend hang, a very successful friend hang. We've been friends for, I probably met her like 2 years ago. And we've always we've been homies that whole time, and we've had mutual friends and hung out together. We've gone on camping trips together with like a big group, but this is our first time hanging out, just the two of us. And you never know how it's going to go. It's like, is conversation going to flow? Is it going to feel awkward? But I think we've hung out enough in like small groups. Like we've hung out 3 or 4 at a time, quite a bit. That it's like, I don't know. We were kind of just, at least I was chilling. I had a great time. It was so fun. We she wanted to check out this store for some clothes in the area. She got a haircut in the area, and she knows I live in the area that I'm not saying specifically. And she hit me up, and she's like, yo, I'm going to be like in your neighborhood later if you want to kick it. And I was like, cool. Yeah. Just let me know. Like, we were going to meet up around 11:30 or something. But I didn't go to bed until like 4 last night. So I woke up at 12. And I texted her and I was like, yo, what's up? But yeah, it was so much fun. I didn't buy anything except for a coffee. And I was ready to feel like, oh no, should I get this thing or should I not? But everything that was cute and that I was into did not feel worth it. Like, I didn't feel compelled. It would have felt like I was just buying something to buy something, which also I kind of like to do sometimes, because I love a new thing. It's that hit of dopamine, and like, I love clothes and I love a cute stationery thing. I love a little thing to go on the wall. I love a cute little accessory. And I really want to get my desk area nice. And my desk area currently is not nice. So, yeah. But so I didn't buy anything except for coffee, but it was great to hang and it was so much fun and I had such a good time. And also coffee puts me in a good mood. I get like a boost, not just of energy, but I heard it's like an ADHD thing, of course. You get that little bit of stimulation from the caffeine and then suddenly your brain is working kind of like normally, like other people's, like a neurotypical brain, kind of more neurotypical. So I always feel like I'm in a better mood and I'm just like more locked in and I can like finish sentences better. Bro, I feel like half the time I'm talking, I like cannot finish a sentence. I'm like I forget what I'm saying as I'm saying it, like so often, especially if I smoke weed. But that makes sense. I'm stoned. But yeah, I'm like, what the fuck are we talking about? I have to ask people to tell me what we were just talking about constantly. But you know what works? Of course, you can be like, what were we just talking about? And people will be like, In-N-Out, movie theaters, Superman, middle school. And then it's like, that's it. But then sometimes I just like reenact what I was doing when I had the thought. Like, I think the other day I was talking to my boyfriend on FaceTime and I was like in the bathroom doing like my nighttime things, like washing my face, brushing my teeth, whatever. And I thought of something and I couldn't remember. And so then I like went back over to the bathtub or something and like put my leg up how it was a second ago. And right when I did that, I remembered. I love the brain. I love the human brain. Sometimes, usually. I was listening to this podcast yesterday with Neil deGrasse Tyson. He was on Hassan Minaj's podcast. I pride myself on saying his name correctly, but of course I'm not positive. I think I say it correctly. I think the emphasis goes Hassan Minaj. I think the emphasis goes on the first syllable of each name, Hassan Minaj, instead of Hassan Minaj. I don't know though. Because I know he talks about that a lot. He's like, Indian people are the only ones that say my name correctly. And I'm like, I want to be included. I don't want to be like everyone else. I want to be your favorite non-Indian person. Whoa. Hello? Oh, hello? Ooh. The audio went out there for a second. I was saying that I want to be Hasan Minhaj's favorite non-Indian person because he says the only Indian people know how to say his name. And I don't want to be a sheep. I don't want to be like everyone else. I want to be his favorite. I want to be different. I want him to remember, oh, she knows how to say my name. She's in the club. You know, sometimes I kind of want to always be in every minority club. Like I see Native Americans doing all their Native American shit and I'm like, that's so fucking sick. I wish I was Native American. And then I see like Mexicans doing their Mexican shit and I'm like, fuck yeah. I want to speak Spanish. But that's what I'm learning Spanish. Estoy aprendiendo. Yo practico cada día. Yo practico con los personas a las lavandería. A las lavandería. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I practice with the people at the laundromat, actually, is what I'm trying to say. Oh, yeah, but Neil deGrasse Tyson was talking to Hasan Minhaj, and he was talking about the future of AI, which, you know, he had some interesting things to say. But something he said, he was talking about how amazing the human brain is, and he was like, I just don't understand why people want to add chemicals as if that'll make it better, because already the human brain is incredible. And I was like, I kind of get that to a certain extent. But, you know, it's like, yeah, we be adding chemicals because they fucking added chemicals to our brains. It's like who knows how much of my mental disorders are caused by the shit I ate growing up, the shit my mom ate when she was pregnant with me, just because they pump our food with all this insane shit. I looked at the back of I got like a canned coffee thing. Even though I'm trying to cut back on sugar, I couldn't find a coffee shop, so I had to go to a gas station, and I was like, fine. And I just get one of those canned things. And I decided to look at the back. So many ingredients, so many random chemical names where I was like, what is this? And the one that stood out the most to me was niacinamide. I don't know what that does for the drink, obviously, but I know that that's like a skincare ingredient. I used to use niacinamide on my face. And I'm not saying that things can't have multiple uses, but just seeing niacinamide on there, it just grossed me out and weirded me out. I've never heard of it being like a good thing to ingest. I've never heard of it being a bad thing to ingest, but I've never heard that like, oh yeah, niacinamide, get your niacinamide every day. 100 grams of niacinamide in that tummy. Never heard anybody say that. So it freaked me the fuck out. So I've been trying to, you know, kind of cut back a little bit. I got a latte today, and I usually ask if they have sugar-free flavors, but the last couple times they haven't. So I've been just getting an iced latte with whole milk. I know it's whole, but whole milk has the best sugar content as far as all the milks go, unless it's like a sugar-free almond milk. But most of these plant alternatives at the coffee shops have added sugar. I guess you can ask, but you know, it's like, can you check your oat milk, your soy milk, your almond? I'm like, whatever. I don't eat a ton of dairy. Maybe like once or twice a week, I'll have something with dairy in it. And then, and then I get whole milk in my coffee, and it feels so embarrassing to say. I'm like, whole milk? Like, I want the whole ass cow fat, please. Can you put the whole cow in my drink? Not me being all ashamed. But I'm trying not to feel so much shame. New stim, also this. I used to do that a lot when I was a kid. Not really this one. That one's kind of new. Just feels good. I didn't know. How did no one know that I had OCD when I was a kid? Because I can feel it now. Even just thinking, I do this thing sometimes where I open my eyes really wide, and I have to do it until it like feels complete. Like there's like a specific, like a certain place or like a distance where it feels like correct. And apparently that's like the just right thing. So a lot of people, that is one, you know, flavor, one little seasoning of OCD. And that's one of the flavorings I have. I said something last night. I met this girl last night, and a couple of us went to In-N-Out, and we were just yapping at the table. And we were talking about horror movies. And I was talking about how, also I have not forgotten about the Neil deGrasse Tyson thing. I want to finish that. But we were talking about horror movies, and I was mentioning how, like some horror movies aren't even worth the risk for me. As I'm trying to get more into horror movies, some things are just not worth the risk. Like what? Oh, I heard this guy who was at In and Out with us, one of our friends, he was talking about Bring Her Back, who was by the same people who did Talk to Me. First of all, I heard Talk to Me was amazing, but I also heard that it was really fucking scary. But since I heard that it's so good, I would love to like see if I could watch it one day, but it does sound pretty disturbing to me. But I am open to it. But then he said, Bring Her Back. He was like, the way he was describing it, he was saying that he shouldn't have been there. He said the movie ended. He was in the movie theater. The movie ended and he felt so like sad and awful. And he just felt like I should not have witnessed that. And he said like throughout the movie, there were multiple times he was like, I should probably just leave. Like, I don't think I should be seeing this. And I was like, was it scary? Was it gruesome? Was it disturbing? Was it gory? He was like, I can't even explain it. Those things are just not something a human being should ever witness. And then he was like, no, but it's cool though. It's like a good movie. You should see it. I'm like, did you hear what the fuck you just said? Why would I do that? And then I was explaining like why horror movies are so rough for me sometimes. It's not just like, oh, it's uncomfortable, it's scary. But if I see the wrong thing in my life, that thing can easily get stuck in my brain forever. And I am not exaggerating. It will pop into my brain at the worst times. Like literally, I can be fucking. I could be naked with someone and then suddenly I have an intrusive thought of something that I saw years ago that was really disturbing. That like really grossed me out, made my skin crawl, and it makes me want to scream and like slam my head against a wall because it feels like I don't need to give my brain any more fuel for sticky thoughts that can just get stuck in there forever. Like it's just not worth it. So that's why I'm so cautious about what horror movies I check out. You know, if it's a theater also and I can't escape, that is a whole other thing. Well, I mean, I can't escape. I have left movies before, but so I really trust my brother with his judgment. I think my boyfriend is starting to learn. But you know, sometimes I surprise both of them. Like I'll watch something and I'll really like it. And they're like, whoa, I would have thought you would have hated that. Like Barbarian. Fucking loved Barbarian. I know I've talked about this on a previous episode, but I mean, it was freaky. That bitch was freaky and it was gross, but it wasn't, you know, I have had moments where I'm like, ooh, that would be like so spooky if she was in this room with me right now. Like it's dark and I kind of have a moment where I'm like looking around and I'm like, is she here? Which genuinely I do. Like I'm a 29-year-old woman, adult, who knows that the actor from Barbarian is not going to be in my house, but like my brain doesn't know that. My brain sees the image and thinks, oh, this is possible. This is real. We need to be on the lookout for this now. So it can now like pop up in my head. But I think because it was practical effects and she was like kind of a monster. I mean, he was really the monster. I'm not trying to give too much away. So I'm just saying he, she, all that. She was kind of a monster. I like monsters and I like practical effects. I don't really rock with demons. I don't need that in my life. Stranger Things, I still remember the Neil deGrasse Tyson thing. Stranger Things season 4, episode 1. I love Stranger Things. And I was setting up to watch the 4th season. And because I think I loved Stranger Things so much because 1, it's an amazing show. Minus season 3. Awful season. Worst season ever. But Billy was great. Billy's storyline was great. Amazing monster. Incredible monster in season 3. I thought it was so good. So clever. It was so dark. I thought that was amazing. But then the whole mall shit and the Russian shit, I was like, bro, y'all are flopping with this. But I was getting ready for season 4 and I was so excited because I was like, oh yeah, the reason I like it, 1, it's an amazing show. And also it was like such a big step for me into the horror world. Like I know it's not insanely scary, but it's like, I mean, that first season, when no one knew what that show was, you know, it's kind of freaky for sure. Like the Demogorgon is freaky. It's maybe not like The Conjuring, but it was like a step for me. I was like, oh my God. But it was so good. I was able to stay in it. And like, I finished the whole thing. You know, some parts I was maybe like this, but I was like, just so excited to find something that I loved so much that kind of added the little bit of horror spice. It just felt like so exciting and like, ooh, it's kind of scary. And like, I can kind of understand why people like horror a little bit, and it was the first time I felt that. So it honestly like has a special place in my heart. Yes, fuck Zionists. Just we'll throw that out there. But oh yeah, I was getting ready for season 4. I had my Stranger Things t-shirt on. I have Stranger Things season 2, the Stranger Things season 2 soundtrack on vinyl. I had the vinyl going, and honestly, the vinyl, like the soundtrack was spooky because it's like the songs, yeah, but then it's also like the and I was like cooking and making my dinner, preparing to watch season 4 episode 1, and I was like, this is kind of spooking me out. But season 4 episode 1, when Chrissy, the whole last like 4 minutes, I was like, what the fuck is this? I was like, this is way farther than you guys have ever gone. And I trusted you. I trusted you. I genuinely didn't know if I'd be able to go on for the rest of the season. I was like, what the fuck do I do? I love the show. I need to watch it. But what the fuck was that? Like, that was crazy. I mean, now I can watch it and it's like a little bit less crazy. And like, obviously the VFX are pretty damn good, but I can like tell that it's fake, obviously. But I think, what is it? Fred, the like newspaper kid who had the scar on his face and he like killed some people in an accident or something. His was pretty freaky. I think his was almost freakier than Chrissy's. But I was like, I don't know if I can handle this. That was the craziest shit. And then I think the season or the second episode opener was all those dead kids everywhere. I was like, this is fucking insane. Or maybe that was the first episode opener. Yeah, I don't know if I was like prepping, whatever. I can't remember if that was like backstory or if that was the story. But now I'll say the Neil deGrasse Tyson thing. We're back, baby. He said he didn't understand why people would add chemicals to their brains when our brains are already so amazing. And he was like, nothing. Hang on. Oh, good. I thought the camera stopped recording. I was like, I'm gonna kill myself. What was I talking about? Oh yeah. He was like, nothing that you put in your brain is going to make anything or like get you more connected to like what's actually going on. It's like all a farce. And he was referring to mushrooms, and I think he's wrong. Even if it doesn't get me more connected, it definitely clears up the noise in my brain where I can like see it, I can feel it. Sure, you also hallucinate. It's just like, you know, some chemicals are making you see things. I'm not saying it's the truth that like the ground is moving like this or the walls are breathing, you know. I'm not saying that's the truth, but like laying in grass or something and feeling like, holy shit, like we are made of the same shit. Yeah, bro, putting that shit in my brain helped me feel that and realize that. And I'm not making it up. We all, as Neil deGrasse Tyson would agree, Neil deGrasse Tyson would agree, we are all made from the same stardust, you know, like shit exploded, made our earth and trees and bikes and my skin. And, it makes sense. Like we are connected. And if mushrooms help me see that, and they kind of bring down these walls so I can be more connected with myself and nature and like the source, aka God, aka universe. I remember though when I was Christian, I hated when people said God or the universe or the source or whatever you call it, because I was like, no, your universe and your source and all that is not the same as my God. Like that is a separate thing, you know, like do not compare them all. Don't say whatever you call it, because God is God. But now that I'm on the other side of that, I'm like, oh yeah, no, we are literally talking about the same thing. Praying is manifesting. Hate to break it to you, Christians who don't want to, I'm not into all that whoa shit. Well, you are. Bro, Christianity is some of the most woo shit out there. We're talking about if Jesus was a human. Wait, wasn't he perfect? He was a divine, perfect human who died and then rose again 4 days later and then like ascended up to heaven. And you're telling me that I'm the woo-woo one. You're telling me that I'm the woo-woo one. When I just think science proves that, we did come from a big bang and not from a man making us in a week. And I'm the woo-woo one. And I'm the woo-woo one. I'm not saying anybody died and rose again. I'm not the woo-woo one. You're the woo-woo one. All right, I need some water. I got hyped. I'm not the woo-woo one. You're the woo-woo one. I'm not the woo-woo one. You're the woo-woo one. I am going to see Jurassic Park later, and I'm very excited. Jurassic Park live at not me opening Instagram to check something for this podcast and then being like, ooh, the paper, the Office reboot, and like liking it like I'm on Instagram right now. I like that the mom from Rami is in there. She's cool. Oh yeah, Jurassic Park live. So I've done some work with the Hollywood Bowl in the past, and as part of the payment, well, it depends. In the past, they wanted me to go to the show and promote it at the show. So they gave me tickets to go to a specific show and film content there. But then this specific job, part of the payment was tickets to 3 shows this summer. So, which is awesome. With parking, bro. I've never had to deal with parking at the Hollywood Bowl. I know, that's like so pretty privileged of me, and I'm grateful. I've actually never had to pay for a show at the Hollywood Bowl. I had always wanted to go to the Hollywood Bowl. I didn't even know what it looked like. I had an idea in my mind, but I heard great things, and every year they had the Harry Potter thing with the orchestra, and I was like, that sounds amazing. But tickets were so expensive, and I think Maren Morris played there a couple years ago on her Humble Quest tour, which I was so broke at the time, so it's, financially responsible that I didn't go. But looking back, I'm so obsessed with that album, and I really wish I saw it on tour. So I'm not saying I regret not buying a ticket, but it hurts. Maybe I should have, I don't know. But so I had never been. But then when I started working with LA Phil and Hollywood Bowl, whatever, as part of the payment, they give me tickets. So who do we see first? We went to Diana Ross a couple weeks ago. That was cool. That was fun. I'm coming up. I want the world to know. I was very surprised how many people did not know who she was. But also, my boyfriend is younger than me by like a significant amount. But then when we asked his friend, who is a couple years older than me, he also didn't know who Diana Ross was. When I sang that song, they were like, oh, I know that song. But like, that was kind of it. But then I showed my boyfriend The Wiz before we went there. I don't think we finished it, but I was like, you need some context, because I'm not a huge Diana Ross fan, but it just feels like she is an original Motown 1980s diva, and we need to fucking see her live before she is unalive. Like if we have that opportunity, it's like seeing Shaka Khan or Whitney Houston before they go. Ooh, I saw Angie Stone a couple years ago. I didn't even know who she was, but then I saw her at a festival that I went to. Woo! That was so good. Oh my God, speaking of that festival, wait, hang on. Okay, so we saw Diana Ross. No one knew who she was. But it was a lot of fun. She brought out her whole family at one point. Tracy Ellis Ross came out and sang, and her other daughter came out and sang, and her ex-husband, who used to be the CEO of Motown, was there. And it was like a family affair. Her grandkids ran on stage. Her son came out and danced. It was very cute and wholesome. And I liked how kind of loosey-goosey it was, because like her family was coming on stage, and it was like obviously kind of unplanned. And I just liked it. It wasn't too, there is definitely a time and a place for like a perfect production that is like down to the 0.3 second, like Beyonce. Like that is 21 Pilots, any of these big people, Taylor Swift, it is going to be like meticulous. And I love that in certain aspects. But yeah, this one, I liked how loosey-goosey it was. And she had a couple outfit changes and she looked amazing. She had these beautiful dresses on and it was just a good time. Okay, festival. I need to tell you about the festival. And then after that, who did we see last week? Oh, Cynthia Erivo and Jesus Christ Superstar. Outstanding. She was another one where it's like, this feels possibly like a once in a lifetime opportunity. And I'm so fucking obsessed with Wicked. Not the necessarily Broadway. I mean, I loved when I saw it on stage, but I'm obsessed with Cynthia in the movie version. I'm obsessed with the movie version. Me and my sister-in-law, we've seen it like, I mean, she's seen it more than me, I think. She's probably seen it like 15 times. I've probably seen it like 7 times. But I have some friends who have not seen it. So I'm going over to their house tomorrow night and watching it with them. And I'm very excited. Gonna bring snacks and I'm pretty sure gonna smoke some Wheaties. And I want to bring like some green snacks because we are not Galinda sympathizers in this house. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. If you're a Galinda sympathizer, you have no place in my house. No, ma'am. We could talk about Ari's performance. We could talk about how nuanced the character is. That's great. But if you're like Team Galinda or something, you're fucking evil, obviously. Obviously. Like, there's no even defending that. Like, if you have an argument, I was going to say I literally don't even want to hear it, but let me be fair. I will hear it. And I'm open for my mind to be changed. I'm open. I highly doubt it will be. If you're like, oh, but Galinda, she got hard. Nah. Selfish ass bitch. Incredible performance though by Ari. Incredible. Both of them. But The Wizard and I, Defying Gravity. Oh my. I remember in the theater, The Wizard and I finished. And it was a packed theater. I saw it on Thanksgiving last year. The Wizard and I finished. And then it cuts to that next scene where she's walking down the hallway. And there's no dialogue for like 10 seconds or something. So it's like quiet. It is, bow. And then it was silent. Like for that next scene, she's like walking down. And I was kind of looking around the theater like, hello? I mean, I guess I didn't make any noise either, but I was like ready to start clapping with everyone. I was ready to be on my feet. And like, of course I could have made that decision myself, but I was like, all right, no one's cheering for that. Like, did you guys all fucking hear that? And I know not all the vocals are 100% live. And of course they're like edited after whatever, but a lot of that was live. Even if it wasn't live, that shit is so fucking impressive, dude. Her voice is out of this world. She is just, it's like otherworldly. She is otherworldly. And she has beautiful energy. She doesn't seem uppity. I feel like in some interviews, like sometimes watching artists talk about the art, I can be like, okay, but I try not to judge, like everybody is approaching art in their own way. But sometimes people will be like, I don't write the song. The song just flows through me. I am simply a vessel. And I'm like, that's cool. That's great. That's beautiful. And I'm a bit like, yeah, shut the fuck up. But if that's how you feel, honestly, it says more about me though. I think part of it is like jealousy from me for sure. And I like how eccentric they feel like they can be and not feel like judged about it. Or like if they really are that in touch, because I feel that way with John Baptiste sometimes too. This is not shade to John Baptiste, but Baptiste. There we go. John Baptiste. Obviously his shit is incredible. I got the Soul soundtrack on vinyl to the Disney movie that he arranged. Love listening to it. His documentary is cool. Obviously he's like one of a kind, also otherworldly, but something I think would like annoy me because it's so like, ooh, I'm just lost in the music. I mean, oh, you're lost in the music. Pay attention to me. You know, like I don't like to, I think maybe it's like some type of insecurity or something, or something intimidates me when someone has something that is like so obviously their life force that I could like never compete with. And not to say that I should be anybody's life force. I shouldn't be like their everything. And like the only time they feel like present or like they feel the best. But like I kind of want to be able to compete a little bit. I don't want to feel like you hanging out with me is just a break from, I don't want to be the side quest or a side quest. I want to be one of the main quests. If I'm talking about being in a relationship with someone, friends, different. But like I don't want to feel like I'm competing with something. And that's, again, not to say that you shouldn't do whatever you want, but I'm not looking for a partner that doesn't have passions. My boyfriend has passions. He spends a lot of time on his creative stuff. He's really good at his job. He works a ton. Like, and I love that. And he loves what he does. I love that. I absolutely love that. But I also feel like he's like locked in and tuned in with me, and I'm not just a detour from his main plot. And I think sometimes when I hear people talk like that, I can feel a little bit like, oh, you are very much like an artist. And like they have their kind of whole thing around them. And I don't know. And like and again, it's not that you shouldn't take up so much space, but they take up so much space and they're like okay with it. And it's hard for me to take up that much space. And I don't know, like, can everyone just get out? I need a couple minutes to clear my head before the show, which is great. Also, I've started meditating, and I meditated before a sketch show I had the other day, and I felt so much better. My anxiety was like way down. So like, I get it, but do you know what I mean? It's just like, it kind of feels like, is there room for me here? And when they're so lost in the sauce, I feel like maybe there's just not room for me here. Anyway, Cynthia is an incredible artist. And I feel like maybe I've seen, glimpses of that probably because she's an incredible artist where she's like, it's just like so powerful and it's like pouring through me and I just lose myself, which is amazing. Also, that is like a sign of such a good artist. And I felt that a couple times. I think that it's hard for me to do that. It's hard for me to get out of my own head. But the few times that I've been able to do that, especially in front of people, like with acting or performing or something, it really does feel amazing. Like it's when your judgments quiet down and you're not thinking the whole time, is this good? How am I being perceived? What should I be doing right now? And you fully forget where you are and you're fully embodying that character. And I kind of used to think that was like, not bullshit, but I just like didn't get what people are saying. And then I've had a couple times in improv classes where there was like 3 seconds where like, oh, this emotion is so genuine right now. And it is like coming through me and I'm like screaming at someone. And then I remember that like I'm acting and then it's like, maybe I like pull back a little because I think it's like a fear of like doing something weird. Like if I'm not protecting myself and like constantly being aware and like making sure that I'm like doing the right thing or like coloring between the lines or inside the lines, I'm scared that I'll like do something weird or fuck up or like say something wrong or say something that I shouldn't. And like, I'm not racist or homophobic or transphobic or whatever, or sexist, but like for some reason I'm scared that if I like let those guards down, I'm going to say something like outlandish that's like going to offend hella people and I'll just like be fucked. Even though I don't know what I would say, it's like, I don't know, we all say dumb shit sometimes. And then I think especially if I'm like in front of people I don't know that well, and then I say some stupid shit, like, I don't know. Or like, what if I'm just like weird or I look weird? And I know that's the shit you have to get past to be like, to make your most true art. So I do love being in touch with that. And I think the artists that I'm describing are people who are maybe just kind of like always in touch, or not always in touch with it, like they're human beings, but like are maybe able to tap into it. But I don't know. But then some people I think can be super performative with it. They're like, I don't know. Ever since I was a kid, I'm singing, I'm performing. My parents, they knew, we knew she was special. They knew. I mean, it's all I've ever been called to do. I don't know how to describe it, because I'm also saying that it's a good thing. But do you know what I mean when it's just like put on a little thick and you're like, all right, buddy, we all poop. Okay. Chill. But yeah, so we saw Cynthia Erivo and Jesus Christ Superstar. We got there 30 minutes late, and I was very upset about that because I thought that it started at 7, or it started at 8, but it started at 7:30. We had planned to get there at 7:30 to get there 30 minutes early, but we got caught up with some stuff and ended up getting there like 7:55. And I heard singing and I was like, what? And the people and there was no one around, like in the parking lot or whatever. And when they were taking our tickets, they were like, oh yeah, Friday and Saturday night started at 8, but since it's Sunday, you know, they did it 30 minutes early, so it's at 7:30. And I'm like, don't switch up the times on me, bro. Like, it's so hard I'm already late to everything I do, and I find it so hard to stay organized. I love being organized, but it's so hard. I love when things are organized, but it's so hard for me to keep everything organized and stay on top of all my shit. So it's like, you changing it. The first 2 nights are at this time. Let's change this third night by 30 minutes because it's Sunday. By 30 minutes. So people can get to bed for work the next morning. 30 minutes. Is that really going to make that much of a big difference? That we needed to do that? That we needed to change it all up? Just have it at the same time. And if that was an issue, Friday and Saturday maybe should have been at 7:30. Just don't do that to me again. So yeah, but I started to crash out a little bit. But my boyfriend was very kind and patient with me, and I only crashed out for about 10 minutes, which progress. You know, my crash out improvement journey is not linear. It's a bit like this. But I am overall getting better. I am getting better at controlling my reactions. I am getting better at regulating my emotions and not falling into a pit of despair over something that I cannot control, especially over disappointment. Disappointment has been a very hard one for me throughout my life. Just like, what do you mean the restaurant that I wanted to go on my birthday isn't open? This is all I wanted. Like, I've just been thinking about this one pasta for 4 months, and like, now it's not even worth it, and I just want to fucking go home anyway, and like, this is stupid. Like, that is what I've done in the past a lot. But now I've gotten a lot better at being like, it's closed. That is a bummer. But okay. Where do we want to go? You know, oh, this place is close. Oh, this gives us a chance to try this new place. Oh, you know, my friends did just tell me about this second restaurant down the street that I've been wanting to try, so this is a good opportunity to try that. And then you end up running into someone there, and it's like, great, I wouldn't have run into you if this didn't all happen. So I've gotten a lot better of just acceptance, you know, acceptance of the situation. But I think, I don't know, like, you know, I'm messing with my meds and I'm trying new stuff and going off of stuff and whatever. It kind of felt like a meds thing a little bit, because it just felt like an out of whack response. Like, I was really pissed. And I like snapped at my boyfriend. I was like, it's not fucking funny. We're missing something, you know? But he was like, word, do you want some water? What do you need? Do you need anything right now? And I was like, no, I'm fine. And so he just like sat there next to me, and like, I think he had his hand on my leg maybe. And after about 10 minutes, I was able to kind of like work through it and be like, there's nothing we can do here. We missed the first 30 minutes, and there's still plenty of show to be had. And Cynthia Erivo is here, and I'm not about to be pissed off when I have like an hour and a half of Cynthia Erivo in my life. Yeah, and it ended up being just absolutely incredible. It was really interesting. The cast, it seemed like they didn't like strip them of their individuality. They all seemed like very much themselves. Like, her tattoos were out, her earrings that are always in were in, her nails were there. And then like, I feel like some of the cast had like their nose rings in and stuff. So that was pretty cool. It seemed, you know, because with a movie, this is my assumption or ascertained conclusion that I've come to. Movies are going to live forever. They're going to live forever. So every single little detail, you have to be okay with that living for eternity. So I can understand, being extremely meticulous about just absolutely everything a little bit more. I'm not super like that, but I can get it. But then with theater, yeah, sometimes it's filmed and all that, but also theater, it's like, it's going to be different every time. You switch up the cast. Usually it's not recorded. So like you just see it once and you go home and probably don't see it again. Their performances are always going to be different. Like nothing there lives for eternity. So I feel like they're able to be a little bit more lax with that kind of stuff. So that was kind of cool. But yeah, I'm really, really grateful to have gotten the opportunity. And then, tonight is Jurassic Park live, and I haven't seen that movie in like 20 years. My boyfriend has never seen it, so I'm excited for him to see it with a live orchestra at the Hollywood Bowl for the first time. That's really, really exciting. And we have 2 other friends that are coming with us. I met Jeff Goldblum a couple years ago backstage at Glastonbury because I randomly did wardrobe for Janelle Monáe at Glastonbury a couple years ago and at Wembley. And the girl who hired me didn't tell them that I was not a professional seamstress. She was literally like, hey, she asked my brothers, hey, do you know anybody who might be available on this date and possibly this date to help with wardrobe for Janelle Monáe? We would pay anywhere from like £300 to £500 for the day. And it would literally just be steaming clothes, like super easy. We just kind of like need you there. And I was like, hell yeah, I needed money. And at first it was just steaming clothes. I was steaming all the dancers' outfits, all the band's outfits. I was steaming all of Janelle's outfits, which was super cool. And I was doing a good ass job. I know it's just steaming clothes, but I ended up working with the second person on the second show at Wembley, and she did not do a good job. So there is a way to be bad at this job, which I didn't know was possible. I was like, are you fucking kidding me, dude? Do you not see the wrinkles? Like, if I'm getting paid to do something, you bet your ass I'm going to do like a good ass job. I am going to do a good ass job. So I was like going in being super meticulous. And then, Jeff Goldblum was backstage because he was about to perform with his like jazz band or ska band or something. And he had I think there were like purple zebra pants on. And he came up to me steaming clothes and he was like, interesting. So what is this? What is this for? And I told him, I was like, oh yeah, Janelle Monáe, she's headlining tonight. He's like, Janelle Monáe, I don't think I've heard of her. And I can't remember what else we talked about. We probably yapped for like just a minute or something. And I didn't acknowledge that I knew who he was. We were backstage. I was trying to be respectful. But I was like, that's so fucking cool. And then I looked on Instagram and like 3 of the other workers who were there, all working on the Janelle tour, all got selfies with him backstage and stuff. And I was like, God damn it. But I get so uncomfortable with that stuff. I don't want to make anybody uncomfortable. And I feel bad. I don't want to. Yeah. And I get embarrassed. I feel like I've embarrassed myself a ton. I feel like I was going to finish up a story from earlier. Oh, the festival. Okay, quickly. Oh yeah, wait, no, they didn't know that I was a seamstress. Oh my God. Okay, these 2 things. They didn't know I was not a seamstress because she was like, oh yeah, you're just going to steam clothes. And I steamed clothes all day. And then someone was like, oh yeah, Janelle wasn't happy with her sweater at the last show. So like she wants to bring in the neck or something. And I just happened to bring along, I brought my own steamer. And then I just happened to bring along a 5-pound sewing kit that was literally this big, had a couple, anybody who's listening, it's like 4 inches tall and like 3 inches wide. Like a couple needles, couple basic threads, bad quality, whatever. Happened to bring that along. And they were like, yeah, her sweater was like too baggy the other night. Like, would you mind bringing in the neck in the next like 2 hours? And I was like, huh? And the girl who hired me was like, just do your best. I'm like, bitch, I'm not a seamstress. I'm not a seamstress. She was like, just do your best. And so then they like brought in a dancer into the room that I was like working in like this green room. And they were like, yeah, she's about the same size as Janelle. And they had me like pin stuff on her. And they were like, cool. So, you know, you can like get to work and then Janelle will come by later and try it on. And I was like, okay, I had no idea what I was doing. Used some of the safety pins in the kit and just like pinned up some stuff around the neck. And then it like went down to the armpit a little and I pinned those. And then she took it off and I just took all the pins out because I was like, I don't know what the fuck I was just pinning. So then I I sat there and I had a moment where I was like, okay, I can either start crying right now and crash out, which I've 100% felt like was an option and a viable option. Like I can just panic, or I can take a deep breath and try my absolute best. And that is what I did. I just went like, okay, it is go time. All I've ever sewn before was holes in my socks and my dog's chew toys. I was like, let's fucking go. Spent the next hour tailoring Janelle Monáe's clothes that she was about to wear, headlining Glastonbury. I was like, oh my God. It was like so stressful. But I did her neck. I brought her neck in and whatever. And I ended up having to like cut stuff because I was like, I don't know if I want to cut it. And they're like, oh, just cut it. Just cut it. So I was like, okay. And I like cut off the excess. And then they were like, oh, Janelle's here. Like, let's go in and, try it. So they brought me into her dressing room. It was her and her stylist, I think, who was texting Lizzo. I saw like Lizzo in big letters on his phone. I was like, where am I? And it was just us three in this green room. And also she knew my ex like well. They had worked together every day for 2 weeks and they were like homies. And I picked that time to be like, oh, actually my husband at the time. Ugh. I was like, my husband. And I said his name and she was like, I don't know. And I was like, oh, and I mean, it's fine. It's okay. And then it was like awkward. And someone was like, you said that? Oh no. And I was like, okay, my bad. Also why I don't ever say things to celebrities. And then he saw her a couple months later and they like hung out all day. He hung out at her house and I was like, can you tell her that was me? He's like, yeah. He was there for like 6 hours and he left and he's like, oh, they're just like, it just never came up. That honestly pissed me the fuck off. I was like, bro, I kind of got embarrassed in that room when she was like, I don't know who that is. And I'm like, you can't just be like, oh, you actually met my wife a couple months ago. She did wardrobe for you at Glastonbury. She was like sewing your thing. Like, come on. That's like your homie. I was just like, what the fuck? I don't know. Just like weirded me out. But yeah, I was like in this room with her and her stylist and she was trying all the stuff on. And I was sitting there like hands shaking, palms are sweaty. The spaghetti on my shirt. Threw up on my shirt already, mom's spaghetti. And then her and her stylist, they were like, oh yeah, but like, it's not perfect because like if you had all your supplies, of course you'd be able to go more in. And I was like, yeah, if I had all my supplies. And they're like, okay, cool. So then she ended up wearing it. Everything was fine. She wore it that night. It looked pretty good. But then before Wembley 2 days later, they were like, okay, we want this taken in more, blah, blah, blah. So then I went and got it professionally done. And I found some seamstress and I was like, I need this by like tonight, please. And most said no, but I found one that did it and it was all good and crisis averted. But that was crazy. And then, okay, just quickly this festival thing. And then I wanted to answer like an advice thing. Quickly this festival thing that I saw Angie Stone at and Indy R.E. and Music Soul Child, Janae Aiko and Miguel. A couple years ago, it was an amazing lineup. Dami and JD Beck were there. I think that's their names. But the sound was awful, especially for the headliners. Like Miguel, like it was so quiet and like the sound kept cutting in and out and people were really pissed. I wasn't that pissed because I didn't really care about seeing him and I left early. And I didn't even stay for, I think it was, who's the Erykah Badu? I think she was headlining. I didn't even stay for her and people were pissed. But after the festival, everyone was like on their Instagram demanding refunds and they were like, yo, what the fuck? They got so mad, like a mob was going after this festival and the festival just ghosted everyone. Didn't respond to a single person. Their Instagram was completely inactive. They didn't post anything from the show. They didn't post anything after that day. All the comments are like, yo, like, can someone help me get a refund? Has anybody heard from them? And it was called Smoke and Grooves. And then like a year later, I think it was called a festival popped up called like Find Your Friends, maybe, or maybe it was something else, but it was like the same lineup. It was like all the R&B, like black people lineup. It was like the exact same vibe. And I was like, I think they ran away and created this other festival under a different name so that they didn't have to own up to what they did. Because we are learning, as with the Travis Scott shit, promoters and all them suck. They are shitty people. All they care about is money. That's it. Safety is not really their priority. A good experience is not really their priority. Obviously they like kind of try that, but like, no. And I looked it up the other day, and sure enough, it was the same. I think it was Golden Voice, or maybe it was someone else, but same production company who put it on. I was like, y'all little snakes need to own up to your mistakes. Okay, so here is the point in the pod where this is what I'm going to start doing. Instead of having my podcast exclusively on Patreon, because I tried that for a couple episodes, I don't really like having everything behind a paywall. Like, you have to pay to see it. If you want to listen to me while you're folding your clothes, anybody should be able to do that. Excuse me, I burped. But now this will be the point where Patreon members will get to see the rest of the podcast. So I'll sign off with everybody else, and then throughout the week between podcasts, I will be sourcing questions when people need advice from me, or I like confessions or something like that. That will be on Patreon. So you can subscribe to my Patreon for as little as $5 a month and get that bonus content. It'll be like the extended cut. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna try to do. I feel like that's a good way of like staying on both platforms, because like I feel like I was getting a little bit of community on YouTube. Some people were liking watching my stuff, and so to just take all that away and then just put it all on Patreon. And then also I got I think I have 5 Patreon members, let's be real. So I don't need to completely cut myself off from my audience. So yeah, so for I don't want to say non-patrons, for the broke bitches, I'll be signing off, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks for coming to Heb Hangs.